What does that mean to you, Black History Month?
It means that that's racism because they don't celebrate White History Month. We don't have it. I'm part Italian. I don't have Italian History Month. So what I think it's doing is perpetuating what this divide is in our nation, quite honestly, because I don't feel like that should be highlighted. I don't think that they should be pushing their agenda on myself because I'm a straight male, I have a wife, and I have children. I don't think that I should have to be bombarded and brainwashed through media, through those months or Pride, Black History. I don't think that's something that should be, dictated to me.
Is it a learning opportunity?
Not at all, because when I was in school, we learned, certain Black leaders, things like that. I don't need to hear it every single year for a whole month.
Here in my hands, I have a written paper so I can be very articulate and clear about this message. May 2nd, 2023, I raised my hand and swore an oath to protect the Constitution and the land of the free with the people that reside within. The immigrants paying U.S. taxes, building homes, working blue-collar jobs, I swear to protect these people. They are our people, the ones that came into the U.S. authorized on a visa or green card, getting stripped away from families, undocumented children, losing parents, friends, siblings, pulled from homes to sit in a concrete room. They are kids. I don't need to be Hispanic to know this is wrong. I wear the name United States across my chest daily. I am a reflection of this country. I'm not proud to say this is a country I'm serving if it means destroying the lives of people that provide for this nation. Yes, there is a legal process, but it can be bettered. The colonists didn't have to pay thousands of dollars or get a visa to be on this stolen land. I might lose the uniform I wear, but then what is the First Amendment? Te escucho.
Metcalf, the innocent teen boy who did nothing wrong and was attacked and unalived for no reason? Well, his dad, Jeff Metcalf, got on a live today and was answering people's questions and God this and Jesus this and Bible verses this and yada yada yada. Really putting on a good pretend show that him and his family are just good Christian people. Then turned around and called a Black woman the N-word. All because she called him out for being racist. This is the same man that raised Austin and Hunter. And you really want me to believe that they were not raised in a racist environment? It was so easy for that word to come out of his mouth, like he says it on a regular basis. And Austin clearly confronted Carmelo with entitlement that was passed down from his little daddy. So no, I'm not buying it that Austin was just so innocent in everything. You don't get to spew hate like that and then claim to be this great Christian family who just loves everyone. And you know what, frankly? F Jeff Metcalf, F Hunter Metcalf, and F Austin. Actions have consequences, and if you raise your kids in hate, don't be surprised when that same hate gets them unalived after they attack somebody.
Hey everybody. The Department of Justice is now hiring January 6 rioters to work there. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. I know this sounds like a joke, but it's not. DOJ has hired a guy named Jared Wise who breached the Capitol on January 6 and encouraged rioters to kill police officers. Here's Wise entering the Capitol with a mask on. And here he is exiting through a window. Wise is also on video screaming at police officers who are being beaten by other rioters and chanting, "Kill him, kill him, kill him." Wise compared the police protecting the Capitol to the Gestapo and testified at his trial that he believed their beatings were justified. Wise is actually an ex-FBI agent who reportedly left the agency in 2017 on bad terms. Wise has now been hired to serve as an advisor to Ed Martin, who is Trump's pardon attorney and the head of the Weaponization Working Group. Wise received a full pardon from Donald Trump. He is now entrusted with upholding the laws of this country as an employee of the Department of Justice, and your tax dollars are paying his salary.
Mike Fanone here. So the Trump administration would have you believe that the vast majority of crimes committed in this country are being done so by undocumented immigrants. Illegal aliens, as they like to call them. So much so that they've devoted an obscene amount of federal resources to kidnapping them from our streets. I call bullshit. I spent 2 decades as an inner city cop in Washington, D.C. I arrested murderers, robbers, rapists, drug traffickers, and sexual predators. You know how many of those were undocumented? You know how many of those were in this country illegally? Not one.
Tragic breaking news. A Haitian woman screamed for help in ICE custody and no one listened. She died hours later. This is the system Trump is building. Her name was Marie-Ange Blaise, 44 years old, detained in February. On April 25th, she started having chest pain. ICE says she got a medical check and a pill, but witnesses, other women in detention, say she cried out for hours, shaking, screaming, begging for help. They say nobody came. She died that night. This is not just one tragedy. This is actually the 7th ICE death this year. And Trump's policies are fueling this. More arrests, more overcrowding, more private jails, more people dying inside. This is what happens when you treat immigrants like criminals instead of human beings. Follow me on Instagram and Substack for the full story.
We don't want to hear shit when you lose your Medicaid. We don't want to hear shit when you lose your SNAP. We don't want to hear shit from those states when FEMA doesn't show up for your tornadoes, hurricanes, and floods this year. We don't want to hear shit when you figure out that those tax breaks are not for you, but they're for the rich. We don't want to hear shit when you figure out that no tax on tips and overtime ain't even real. We don't want to hear shit when you figure out that he is increasing the debt ceiling by trillions of dollars, which is going to cost us a lot. Because we try to tell you. So you're excited about this bill passing? Just remember when all that shit happens to you to not open your fucking mouth.
I need all of your attention right now. This is not a trend. This is not a moment. This is a call to every person with a voice, a soul, and a sense of what's right and wrong. We must boycott the 4th of July, not because we hate this country, because we love it too much to lie anymore. We do not protect freedom by clapping for fireworks while they pass these insane bills to tear families apart, silence us, and strip away rights like they were never real. We do not celebrate independence while the Constitution is being gutted and the most powerful voices in this nation are mocking the very people who keep it running. Yes, I know some leaders are speaking up and we honor them, but now the people must rise beside them and beyond them and stand in solidarity. No parades on the 4th of July, no fireworks shows, no big store spending. We hold the line with our absence. We send a silence so loud that it breaks through every headline, every boardroom, every echo chamber built to ignore us. Let them see empty streets. Let them feel the money stop flowing for the day. Let them know we are not buying it anymore. This year, we don't light up the sky. We become the fire. We send the message, and we make damn sure they never forget it. We are the People's Union USA, my friends, and this is the beginning of the end of business as usual. Stand in solidarity, my friends. Boycott the 4th of July.
We have breaking news right now. Minutes ago, Thomas Massie, the Republican from Kentucky, just switched his vote from yes to no on this rules vote, which means that Republicans have lost 5 votes. They can only lose 3. Previously, they lost 4. Now it's up to 5. Mike Johnson has a much longer night ahead of him right now because here's the thing. They didn't expect Brian Fitzpatrick, a more moderate Republican, to vote no. He voted no, and he, according to CNN, literally ran out of the House chamber, and they're trying to figure out a way to contact him. Then Thomas Massie, which everyone expected to vote yes on this, even though he would probably vote no on the final bill, just switched his vote in a surprise to many from yes to no. So now Johnson previously had to flip 1 no vote. He now has to flip 2 no votes and make sure all the outstanding voters vote yes. So this is a much longer night for Republicans. Anything can happen. They could very well flip. They've known to do that in the past, so we'll see what happens. But bad news for Republicans right now, so follow along for more.
Do you see this video? This white guy talking about how excited he is that Mississippi is passing laws that would allow him to hunt down undocumented people and get paid. Listen.
It's about to be the damn purge around this bitch. I was all sad and shit because it was the end into damn hunting season, and my state, my amazing state of Mississippi, has proposed a bill that is supposed to be passed tonight, that they put $1,000 bounty on every illegal. What? Your boy's about to get paid. Okay, somebody better call Astro for it and let them know I'm coming, because I'm upgrading to an F-350. Are you kidding me right now? It is time to suit up, boys. We just thought damn hunting season was over with. We got to get ready. We got shit.
So this is Zach Rushing, a comedian with almost 6 million followers across multiple platforms. Now, what he was talking about was a bill that would give bounty hunters the power to track down undocumented people and get paid for it, but that bill died. So it's not being passed. So this guy and all of his followers really show their true colors when they thought they were going to be allowed to hunt down undocumented people. Because you should see his comments. People going, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. Or, oh my gosh, I can't wait till they bring this to Mississippi, Ohio, Louisiana. They're excited to hunt down innocent people whose only crime is being undocumented in this country. Which again, it is not a crime. It's a civil violation equal to jaywalking. Now, even though that law did not pass, and that law was giving bounty hunters the power to go after undocumented people, I'm sure there's going to be more laws that are going to deputize regular ass, dumbass citizens to go after undocumented people. And people like him and his 6 million followers are ready to do that. And I know a lot of people have already made this point, but it's worth reiterating. This is how Nazi Germany got to where it got. It wasn't always the government going after people. It was regular citizens being deputized to go after their fellow citizen to help put them in camps or unalive them. And now we're seeing who these racists really are. Because before, this guy was making videos hinting at his racism and stuff like that. But now it's full out on display. He's excited to hunt down black and brown people, because you know he ain't going to hunt down undocumented white people. This racist is ready to hurt people of color. Now, I wish that him talking like this would actually hurt his following, but in this world that we live in, this kind of speech will probably get him a Netflix special in 2 weeks.
Do you think conservative policies are the best? All right, let's see. Here are two of the states that were either all blue or all red. And as you can see, Oklahoma, my home state, 44th in education, 49th in healthcare, 44th in quality of life, 50th in test scores, and top 10 worst poverty rates. If my state could read, they'd be furious about this. Massachusetts, on the other hand, is first in education, second in healthcare, first in quality of life, first in test scores, and top 10 least poverty rates. So when you say that conservative policies are the best, I don't know what you're talking about. Because where's the proof? I believe the way I do because facts don't lie. If the facts showed that conservative states on average did better than every other blue state, I would have no choice but to capitulate. I would have to change my view that conservative policies are better because that's the proof. But that's not the case. Red states over and over and over again are the highest in poverty rates, have the highest infant mortality rates. But y'all say you care about kids, right? Well, the facts say otherwise. They have the highest maternal mortality rates, the lowest outcomes in healthcare. They also claim to have moral superiority, like they're the ones of family values. Well, family values aren't 16-year-olds having kids, because y'all have the highest teenager pregnancy rate too. And this isn't to say that if you had a kid young that you're bad in any way. It's just to throw it back in the face of conservatives who say over and over again that they want to protect kids and they're the ones of moral superiority, yet they're the ones that have the highest teenage pregnancy rate. Yet that's the thing they complain about other states having. So please, I mean, if I'm missing something, show me. Show me the evidence of how conservative states are better and where they perform better. Because every time I do research to try to see if a conservative state does better, the evidence isn't there. What are y'all better at? Genuinely, please show me what you're better at. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and have the day you deserve.
Congressional Republicans just passed a bill that is the largest transfer of wealth from low-income Americans to the wealthiest Americans ever in the history of the United States. This is what Trump calls the one big beautiful bill. It is a disastrous bill, probably the worst thing I've ever voted on. I voted no, of course. There's so many awful things in this bill. Here are the 10 things that I think are going to impact you the most. Number one, in order to pay for these tax cuts, they cut health care significantly. It's the largest healthcare cut ever. 17 million Americans will lose their healthcare. Number two, medical debt. So healthcare costs for almost everyone's going to go up. When you take that much money out of the healthcare system, costs are going to go up, and they estimate about 5.5 million Americans will fall into some level of medical debt. Number three, 5 million Americans are going to lose food assistance. So that's food being taken away from children, seniors, veterans. It's awful. Number four, one estimate suggests that over 330 rural hospitals will shutter their doors. They'll shut down. Number five, it defunds Planned Parenthood, which means that clinics all over the country, including blue states, will close. Number six, it ends billions and billions of dollars in new energy tax credits. Number seven, when you take all of those tax credits out of the system, folks estimate that almost 2 million jobs will be eliminated. And number eight, energy costs will go up by about 30%. So for the average family, that's hundreds of dollars every year. Number nine, there's tens of billions of dollars in here for more detention centers. So instead of securing the border and doing real immigration reform to keep people safe, this thing is going to build these detention centers all over the country that will increase the mayhem and chaos that you're seeing. And number 10, this affects all of us. It adds $3.3 trillion to the deficit. Even though it passed, the fight continues. In fact, in some ways, the fight is even more important because now it's real. People are going to lose their health care. They're going to lose their food assistance. We have to fight to ensure that we get a Congress that puts these investments back in place, that gives people their health care back and pays for it by making sure the people at the top pay all their taxes. So moving forward, demonstration protests should be about this. I mean, I know there's a ton going on and we can focus on those things too and fight those things, but 17 million people losing their health care, that's got to be our focus for the next 18 months. I mean, until we restore healthcare for these folks, until we restore food assistance for everybody, until we fix this has to be our focus.
Yo, we're smoking on that fucking MAGA pack. How does it feel to watch your entire ideology die in real time? The tide is fucking turning, and I know you MAGA rats fucking feel it. You thought you were the majority? You thought America supported you? Dog, you are the bottom of the barrel scum left, but you are the backwash of this nation. And now, finally, I know you saw that parade. I know you saw it and you went, damn, this is a bad look. I know you saw millions of people protesting. I know you see everything that's going on. And guys, if you're not MAGA, just so you can understand what's going to happen, they're going to start abandoning Trump in silence because they're going to be embarrassed. You're all going to be fucking embarrassed to have supported this man in the first place. But here's the thing. The internet is forever. And you stupid fucks, you bought all his merch. You bought the Trump cards, the Trump shoes, the Trump hats, the Trump flags. You changed your clan tag and Call of Duty to Trump. You turned your entire identity into Donald Trump. And when that movement is left behind, so will you. You will be left behind. While the rest of us, the actual grown adults, we do the work. Because you've proven to us, you have proven that you are incapable of making decisions for yourself. In that case, we'll make them for you.
I'm just going to put this right out there, and I don't care what anyone has to say. This country is beyond fucked, and I'm getting real tired of the messages telling me I should be in the streets. I should be doing more. I'm just boycotting. Just boycotting? Let me explain something to you clearly. In 5 months, the People's Union USA has already put pressure on major corporations. We've hit profits. We've made noise in the boardrooms. Politicians know who we are. And we did that without marching into their traps because that's what they want. This administration wants you in the streets. They want you screaming. They want you angry and emotional and visible so they can come and scoop you up, label you dangerous, and shut you down. And every time people do hit the streets, they go home thinking they really did something, like yelling for 2 hours changed the world. But then most of you go back home buying from the same companies, funding the same oppression, and they do nothing after the protests. And that's not a revolution. That is a performance. They are not scared of protest anymore. They expect them. They have agents in place for that. They have laws for that. They want you to give them a reason. But you know what they don't have a defense for? The silence of missing dollars. the empty registers, the public turning their backs on the corporations that keep this corrupt machine alive. That's why we boycott. That's why we strike with strategy, not just noise, because every dollar we withhold, that's power. You want change? Stop buying their shit. Stop feeding the beast. Stop giving these billion-dollar brands the fuel to go fund your own oppression. So no, I'm not going to play into their hands. I'm not walking into the fire they set. I'm standing with the people. I'm hitting them where it hurts, and that is in their pockets. And if you don't think that's enough, take a look at the numbers. Then tell me who's really doing something. Boycotts are working. The system is scared, and we are only at this for 5 months now. We are just getting started. Visit thepeoplesunionusa.com, see what we are all about, join the free forum, and my friends, please share this video. Thank you.
Donald Trump's Pentagon is launching a full-blown assault on civil rights heroes targeting black leaders, gay icons, women's rights champions, and Latino activists, all to erase their legacy from the military and from history. First up, they're renaming the USNS Harvey Milk. Milk was a Navy veteran and one of America's first openly gay elected officials, murdered in 1978 simply for being gay. His name on that ship stood for progress and inclusion. Trump's defense secretary, Pete Hegseth, is ripping Milk's name off the ship, claiming it's about the warrior ethos. Right, because our soldiers are such sensitive snowflakes, they're not going to be able to win a war if they've got a boat named after a gay guy. Oh, okay, sure. And it's not just Harvey Milk. They're also going after ships named for Thurgood Marshall, the first black Supreme Court justice who ended school segregation, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court justice and champion for women's rights, Harriet Tubman, who escaped slavery, rescued hundreds through the Underground Railroad, and spied for the Union in the Civil War, and Cesar Chavez, who organized farm workers and became a leading voice for Latino civil rights. But this isn't all they're doing. Under Trump, they erased information about black and Latino soldiers from the Arlington Cemetery website. They banned the teaching of the Tuskegee Airmen, black pilots who fought heroically in World War II, no longer allowed it at the Air Force Academy or the Air Force in general. They deleted a Pentagon webpage honoring Native American service members, including Navajo code talkers who played a crucial role in World War II, like Ira Hayes, one of the men who raised the flag at Iwo Jima. And they even banned mention of the Enola Gay, one of the planes that dropped the atomic bomb, simply because it has the word gay in it. This isn't random. It's a relentless war on civil rights in every community that's fought for equality in America. Don't let them erase these heroes. Don't let them erase our history. Ironically, or tellingly, the only history they don't seem to want to erase is the guys who fought on the wrong side of the Civil War. Because a great nation deserves the truth, I'm John Aravosis, reporting from Washington.
We just witnessed the largest upward transfer of wealth from the bottom 10% to the top 10% in U.S. history. And it sucks. And the mission doesn't change, and we are in the find out phase of this. The first thing I want to say is, with my many issues with the Democratic Party, I think we have enough evidence to prove that no, the parties are not two parts of the same coin. And the second thing is that conservatives have done this before. They did it in the 20s, and it always has economic fallout, but because they did it in the 20s is what led us to having social safety nets in the first place. So they also just fucked over all of their constituents because the poorest people, the poorest areas are all in red states. And so I think they just dismantled their own kingdom for good. The question is, how long is that going to take? But today, in this moment and in these feelings, I want you to take a deep breath and I want you to drink some water. Don't open the bottle if you can help it, okay? Sit with your family, sit with your friends. Starting next week on my Patreon and other platforms, I'm going to start giving you videos to prepare, go over this bill, find out what's coming so that you can be the most prepared, and also be ready to fight. Be ready to fight for us, for the regular people in America. There's no reason that the top 10% should control 67% of the net worth of the nation. But we're going to have to fight it because we've seen they're not going to give it up willingly. And what these motherfuckers also did is they just gave people like Zohran Mamdani an even bigger platform. We have change around the corner, but we're going to have to brace ourselves and fight for it. And I want you to know that I'm here for you every single step of the way, and I will continue to show up every day. But take today, breathe through it, and we fight tomorrow.
Trump is the best thing for this country. No, he is not. In 2018, Trump let asbestos, which is known for causing cancer, run rampant in this country, causing the deaths of thousands. Luckily, during Biden's term, he not only banned asbestos, but he also started an act for clean water and clean air. But since we can't have nice things with Trump, he not only lifted the asbestos ban, he also defunded cancer research, and to have the cherry on top, he absolutely gutted Biden's Clean Air and Clean Water Act. To make things worse, Trump made a deal with Russia to have asbestos exports come to America with no tariffs. Not only do the American people have cancer-causing chemicals in the water and in the air, Trump also took away millions of people's health care. Putin doesn't even have to declare war on America to kill us. Trump is already doing it for him. Trump has done way more harm to this country than any other countries have done to us combined.
Is the United States 2025 at risk of becoming Germany 1933? As someone who studied the Holocaust extensively for the last 25 years, the answer is it already is Germany 1933. TikTok Trevor here, time for your daily history update. For some context, Hitler comes into power in January 33 as the head of a constitutional government, but in February of that year, the Reichstag buildings burned down. Hitler uses that as an excuse to get the Enabling Act passed, which gives him sweeping dictatorial authority. He begins to arrest his political opponents, builds a concentration camp, creates a secret police force, begins to shut down newspapers, and begins to pull all the power into himself. By 34, he has the control of the armed forces, and he is a full-fledged dictator. Well, already in 2025, Trump has already got all these things in place. He's in complete control of all three branches of government, the legislative, the executive, and the judicial, in that he controls the House and the Senate. The Supreme Court's on his side, and he is the executive branch. Number two, he already has a constitutional crisis on his hands with the people that he's deporting overseas, and with this trade war he's created with the rest of the world. This is going to give him the crisis he needs in order to use the emergency powers of the presidency to do things that would otherwise be very much illegal and not under his authority. On top of that, he's already created a secret police force. ICE has the ability to arrest and to detain, to deport people without any political or legal recourse, which makes him exactly the equivalent of the Geheime Staatspolizei, which people desperately feared in 1933. On top of that, he's ordered the expansion of Guantanamo Bay to hold 30,000 more people, just like Hitler had Dachau built. And in fact, Trump is now musing openly about sending U.S. citizens to El Salvadorian prisons rather than building them in the United States, because it's cheaper to do that. Finally, Trump has the complete control of the military forces, which Hitler had to wait until 34 for, because he's the commander-in-chief of the United States military. Folks, there is a really dangerous precedent that's already been set, and the United States is sliding blithely into authoritarianism without any real recourse. The only shining light we might be able to look at in this particular case is when Hitler begins to dismantle authority in 1933, German democracy is barely 20 years old, and was viewed by many Germans as having been imposed by the Allies and the Treaty of Versailles with the Weimar government. The United States has got a thriving democracy that has lasted over 200 years. What we have to hope is that at some point, calmer, more rational minds will realize where they are going and begin to resist what's happening in the United States. Otherwise, we are very much looking at 1933 all over again. Consider yourself updated.
I didn't want to post about this because, frankly, I don't want people that I work with to see it because it could be hurtful, but I think it's important. So my name is Derek. I'm a preventive cardiologist and a pediatric cardiologist. And I was in clinic recently when a clinical staff person that I work with came up to me and asked to speak with me privately, which never happens. So I thought, uh-oh. We go off to the side, and she said that a parent had called in and wanted their child to be seen, but wanted no Black people to be involved in their care. And so we have a mix of white and Black clinical staff. And the most heartbreaking thing about this whole situation was that she herself is Black. And she even brought this to my attention with a plan as to how that could be done. And I said, no, absolutely no. I won't tolerate that. I won't discuss it. I won't accommodate it. I won't allow future scheduling with cherry picking a date based off racially profiling staff. Like, no. So I think that bias and prejudice persist when the people that aren't affected by it remain quiet or tolerate it. And I was raised better than that, and we will raise our boys to be better than that. This was never okay, but it's 2025. Absolutely ridiculous.
Father David here, and this is for my friends who continue to support Donald Trump. And I mean this all quite sincerely, with a hope that it will open your hearts and minds to reconsider that support. Because when a president determines that he will only work for those who support him and denigrate those who oppose him, that's not America. When a president decides that the law applies to his political opponents, but not to his political allies, that is not America. When a president continually threatens and in fact goes ahead with putting American troops on U.S. soil to deal with protests that local police were handling perfectly well, that is not America. When our president meets with our allies and refuses to sign accords that every other ally is in for, things like the reality of climate change and calling for an end to the Iranian-Israeli conflict, that is not America. Donald Trump is an outlier. MAGA is not Republican. It is not normal. It is an effort to establish an authoritarian regime. And if we appreciate the freedoms for which so many have fought and died over these many years, there is no option but to oppose MAGA, to oppose it peacefully, but forcefully and continually. God bless us all.
So a lot of us white folk are not really grasping the importance of standing up for undocumented people's right to due process. And I'm going to make it really simple for you, because I don't need you to have empathy for them. I really don't. I need you to have some self-preservation. So how many times a day do you not have ID on you? AKA, how many times a day are you undocumented? If an ICE agent approaches you during one of those times, you're gone. Your Meemaw Papa, your great Meemaw Papa may have been here since the Civil War. It don't matter. Because in this moment, you can't prove it. You're gone. Let's take it a step further. They can't get you like that. You've thought of this. You're a good American citizen. You make sure your identification is on you at all times. You're out for a run. You've got your ID. You're feeling yourself in your neon short shorts. But an ICE agent sees you and thinks you look a little gay. He doesn't really like that. Or if you're a woman, maybe he thinks that you look like a girl who rejected him in high school, and he really doesn't like that. So he approaches you and asks for your ID. You hand it over. Only problem is, he's having a really bad day. And this ICE agent, when he's having a bad day, sometimes IDs look fake to him. Surprise! You're undocumented. Now, you could prove that you're a U.S. citizen easily in court. In a hearing, you could prove it in 10 minutes if he let you go home and get your birth certificate, but he's not going to do that. He doesn't have to, because when he did this to other people, you didn't say a word.
They call me racist cause I stand for my race, but I ain't never bowed down. Fuck you if you don't like it. White pride for life, I say it proud. I see the hate, I hear the names, but I don't give a fuck. I'm white, I'm proud, and I'm built white boy tough. They tell
I got the smallest little dick in all the land. I'm a Rudy Tooty Booty Scootin' cowboy man, and I'm famous in these parts for one simple trick. When I unzip these jeans, I got a tiny ass dick.
When you are born as an American citizen, you are taught the Pledge of Allegiance. You're taught to worship the flag. You're given a social security number and a birth certificate. You then go into an education system that does not allow you to freely think. It tells you what to learn, and then it tells you to go to college, get loans, and go into debt. All so that you can then pursue the American dream. You can pursue money, work a job for a big corporation, pay your taxes, pay your health care, and if not, you will be punished. When we look at the aspects of what a cult is, you're taught to worship authority, which the USA checks. You are indoctrinated, USA checks. And lastly, you are taught to be dependent on the system for survival. Check. All showing you that the USA is a cult. So if you don't want to be a part of the cult anymore, I suggest you do this. True sovereignty comes when you have power over your mind, body, time, and energy. And this happens as you go through the awakening process. The way that you go about this is first taking care of your health, which is truly healing. You want to give yourself space and time to feel your emotions, to breathe, which will help you feel your emotions more, and allow yourself to get vulnerable. Talk about your emotions. Talk about what you're holding inside. Once you go through your healing process, you will be able to establish financial independence. That is exactly what I'm doing here. I share with you my gifts, hoping that you will learn something from it. And lastly, connect with nature. Spend a lot of time outside. Get rid of your fluorescent light and truly start to learn your soul. By doing this, what you're truly doing is you're taking your power back, and you're not allowing fear-mongering powers to truly run you and your mind any longer. The more that you learn your soul, the more that you learn who you truly are, you will wake up and see that there is nothing that can have control over you, because you are a sovereign, spiritual, divine being.